Hi, I'm Jill, founder of Kids Baking Club, and today we are going to be making pumpkin pie bars. They're kind of like a pumpkin pie, but in a bar form so that you can cut it in a different way than the pie shapes. But the recipe is pretty much the same, except I add a few little extra ingredients that make it really, really, really good. So just want to let you know that Kids Baking Club, we are completely dedicated to teaching kids of today the art of baking. We want kids' lives to be enhanced with baking, and we've just been having so much fun. If you want to be part of our baking kits, our October Pumpkin Patch Party baking kit is being sent out right now. We'd love to send it to you. Just go to kidsbakingclub.com. You can also get this recipe by going to kidsbakingclub.com, click the blog, and this recipe is ready to print for you. We have a printable recipe, and it's super fun and super easy. And don't forget to like, because that helps share it with lots of other people, so that's a lot of fun too. All right, so pumpkin pie bars, like I said, is really just like a pumpkin pie, but you're going to use the pie crust to make into a casserole dish or a baking pan. And I add brown sugar to my pumpkin pie bars because I just love the flavor of molasses, especially now that it's fall. So it's really fun to just add some different flavors. And I also add cardamom, which also gives it a lot of new flavor as well. You guys ready to get started? Okay. So the first thing, let's go over the ingredients. You're going to need 1 can of pumpkin puree, not the pumpkin pie mix. Some people get mixed up about that. You definitely want the one that is the puree. It's the pure pumpkin. It should actually say on there 100% pure, okay? And if you want to buy the organic, that is fine too. And then you're going to get evaporated milk. It's different than condensed milk. It's evaporated milk. And the easiest way to open it is with a bottle opener like this. I'll show you in just a second. You're also going to need 1/2 cup of sugar, 1/4 cup of brown sugar, and then a bunch of spices. So it's 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of ground ginger, 1/4 teaspoon of ground cloves, and 1/4 teaspoon of cardamom. But you can go away with all of these, buying all these spices, and just buy the one spice called pumpkin pie spice and add 2 teaspoons into your mix instead of all the rest of these spices. And then it's a fourth of a cup, do not put a fourth of a cup, a 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt, and then 2 large eggs, which I've kept at room temperature for just a little bit. So the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna add your sugars into a bowl. And this is nice because it's a 1 bowl method. And just take a whisk and just chop this up and get all of those sugars mixed together. Then we're going to add the spices right now. We want to incorporate all of the spices into the sugar before we add the liquids. So I'm going to add my cloves, my cinnamon, my ground ginger, and cardamom. I love the smell of cardamom, and a little bit of salt. Okay, so we're going to add all that. So now that's all incorporated, so that just makes it a lot easier when you're about ready to add all your liquids. Okay, so now I'm going to add my pumpkin puree. I went ahead and took the top off and go ahead and add that pumpkin. It's a big popular flavor this time of year. Pumpkin everything, right? You go into a grocery store now and everything's pumpkin everything. I even saw pumpkin ravioli the other day. All right, using a bottle opener, you're just gonna take the sharp end and go ahead and punch on one side, and then just a little bit to release the air on the other side. And then you're just gonna pour that in. And what this is gonna do with the eggs is it's gonna thicken it when it bakes in the oven. So go ahead and stir this before we're gonna add the eggs. You'd be surprised because it looks like, how is that ever gonna make it into like a custard in the oven? but that is what happens. Now, while I'm doing this, I'm going to talk to you about the crust. You want to buy the pre-made refrigerated pie crust. And the best way that I have found is go ahead and roll it out into a casserole dish and bake it at 425 degrees for about 10 minutes. So you're just going to get a simple bake on that crust before we pour this in. It takes 2 pie crusts, and usually when you buy the refrigerated pie crust in the grocery store, it already comes with the 2 rolls, so it's just perfect. All right, now I'm ready to add the eggs. I'm gonna add 2 large eggs. Remember, always have your eggs at room temperature so that you don't shock the other ingredients. So set your oven to 425 degrees. You're gonna, first of all, bake your crust, take it out, then make this. Then when you pour this into your casserole dish, you're gonna bake that for 10 minutes. And then you're gonna turn your oven down. Now it's weird with my oven, you actually have to turn the oven off and then turn it back on at 350 degrees. I don't know why, it's an older oven. If you have a newer oven, sometimes it's a little bit easier, but you just wanna bring that temperature down to 350 degrees. And then you're gonna bake that for 25 minutes until you see it like a custard, like a thick custard. It will thicken up still a little bit more when you cool it, but you definitely want it completely baked. All right, I'm gonna add that, put that to the side and make sure this isn't too hot because I had just taken it out of the oven. Be careful with my fingers. Yeah, it seems to be okay. And now we're gonna pour this in. Nice, and you wanna make sure you have a big enough pan. This I think is a 10 by 5 or a 9 by 6, I can't remember. If you're using a smaller pan and you seem like the starting to cover over, make sure that you don't make it too high because it will rise just a little bit while it's baking in the oven. And then you want to make sure you don't have that happen because then it spills over in the oven and starts to burn. So if you have any extra pumpkin mix, then you can just put it into a little pan and actually bake that and it becomes like a little dessert. So this is going to go into the oven for 10 minutes at 425 degrees, and then I'm gonna bring the temperature down to 350 for another 10 minutes. I'm sorry, not 10 minutes, 25 minutes. And then I'm just gonna check it by inserting a knife, and if it comes out clean, then it's become that custard that we love. And then we can take it out of the oven and then let it cool before we slice it and serve it to our friends and family. Add some ice cream to it, some whipped cream, but this makes a wonderful dessert for all your fall activities, desserts, Thanksgiving, Halloween, Christmas, all the fun recipes that you can make for the holiday season. Well, thank you for joining me today. We will see you next time. I'm gonna stick this in the oven. I will show you what this looks like at the end, but go to kidsbakingclub.com because I already have the printable recipe there for you, and I want you to enjoy making this maybe today. All right, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.